Hi, I'm Alex Kincaid, and welcome to the Gun Law Podcast. Many of you have asked me for more information about what is really going on with the VA and the taking away of gun rights from those who have served our country. And I wrote a blog on this a while back, but today I decided it might be better to put this in a video for you because the actions of the VA are really quite egregious. And I will argue with people who post online and want to counteract what I have written or what I say, that it can't possibly be true that 99% of the people who are denied their right to possess a firearm through the background check system because of mental incapacity, they've been, quote, adjudicated a mental defective, are names that are submitted by the VA. And it's true. And if you look online and you do the research, there have been Senate reports, there have been findings about what the VA is doing and how this is adversely affecting our soldiers when they return to this country. This is how it works. In 1968, Congress passed the Gun Control Act. That law, as it stands today, it's been slightly modified over the years, but what it says is that if you are adjudicated a mental defective, you're not allowed to have a gun. Okay? And think about the assassination of President Kennedy or Martin Luther King Jr. There was a huge uproar in the public that prompted the passing of this law. I have a chapter in my book called How Can Crazy People Get a Gun? Well, it talks about the Gun Control Act of 1968. And it's because people wonder, how can someone who's mentally ill get a gun? That's a whole nother discussion. Okay? We can't always figure out who those people are, number one. But the law that we have applies to people who supposedly we can figure out that they shouldn't be in possession of a firearm. And what the government said is if there is an order issued not only in a court of law, but by a board of a government agency like the VA or the Social Security Administration that says that you cannot, for whatever reason, manage your own affairs or enter into contracts or the things that most people think about when they hear the phrase adjudicated a mental defective. You've been committed involuntarily to a mental institution, or you're insane and have been found so in the criminal justice system. If you're any of those things, and you think about the returning war veteran who many years ago may have returned from World War II, has a collection of firearms. They're very important to him. His family's important to him. Protecting his family is important to him. But he can no longer balance his own checkbook. He can't remember to take his own medications. And a judge in a court of law says, I'm going to appoint you someone who can help you and have authority to sign for you and make decisions for you because you can't anymore. That person, that grandfather, that war veteran, that husband has, with that court decision, lost his gun rights. And what's happening now is that returning soldiers are torn up. They've lost limbs. They've had head injuries. They've suffered things that most people can't even understand. And they come back to this country, and their welcome is the Veterans Administration saying, you need somebody to manage finances for you while you're undergoing all this medical care and being put back together. And the moment the board does that, the VA reports those soldiers to the FBI, and they're put in the background check system as prohibited persons who have lost their gun rights. And if you want to argue with me and tell me this isn't happening, I'm not even going to listen, because I experience this in my practice, and I help those veterans regain their gun rights, and I've seen it done. And you'll hear in the media this little word tossed around. It's called fiduciary, because that is the trusted person that the VA is appointing to make decisions for soldiers who can't do everything for themselves because they're undergoing treatment. They appoint a fiduciary, and when they do that, those soldiers lose their gun rights. And that is what is happening in the VA. There was a bill proposed in Congress that would remediate this situation. Of course, it failed. What the bill would have done would have at least afforded these veterans the opportunity to have their case presented in court and have a judge say that not only can they not manage their own financial affairs, and they need a fiduciary, but if they truly were going to be reported as prohibited persons to the FBI and lose their gun rights, a judge would have to find that they were dangerous, that they were a danger to themselves or others. And of course, that's not going to apply to many of these veterans, maybe most, whose names are being submitted to the FBI. So, if you've been wondering what's going on with the VA and why you talk to veterans, and they don't even want to go to the VA, they don't want to go to the doctors, they don't want to talk to anybody there, it's because of this mistrust that's been created not by people like me who are bringing out the truth, but by the administration who's been allowing this to happen, and the VA itself who's reporting our veterans to the FBI. As always, thank you for listening to the Gun Law Podcast. If you want to learn more, I have a chapter about the VA and their policies and their reporting in my book, Infringed. It's available online at Amazon.com. It's in the NRA online store. If you buy it from the NRA, the profits are going to the NRA itself. So you're supporting a good cause. And it's also available on my website if you'd like an autographed copy.
Just one gun could have stopped the madman in his tracks. Just one gun, they'd be alive today. Just one gun.
This is an important message about your liberty.
So the notion that gun laws don't work, it's not borne out by the evidence.
We need universal background checks. We know that they will work. We need to...
Politicians continue to call for more gun control. Yet so many laws already exist, the American gun owner is often left confused about the legality of their own common everyday behaviors. Attorney and former prosecutor Alex Kincaid knows that too many responsible gun owners violate laws that they don't know even exist. And her goal is to stop that. Now get Kincaid's new book, Infringed. Larry Pratt of Gun Owners of America says that Infringed should be on the shelf of every American gun owner. Infringed debuts November 25th, but pre-order today and receive an autographed hard copy edition at $5 off. Visit AlexKincaidLaw.com now. That's AlexKincaidLaw.com. Get Infringed. Get it today. AlexKincaidLaw.com.